Hollywood has been acting like a bunch of dodos, so it's no surprise that their billion-dollar blockbuster scheme is going the way of the dodo, finding its demise. Today, we'll tell you why it's no more than a few movies that still have a chance to break $1 billion in 2025, and every single day it looks less and less likely. We'll show you what remains, what could break $1 billion, and what definitely will not this year. Hello, folks, and happy day. It's a Monday, but that doesn't mean the blues have to be coming your way because Culture Casino is here. He's got a red shirt, and courage has found its way back onto the interwebs. Culture Casino, welcome back, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me, Pro. I'm excited because I was unaware of what we're reacting to right now, and it's hilarious.
That's right, folks. This is going to be a video that you simply cannot miss. So go ahead, glue yourself, Elmer's will work, or duct tape yourself, not with an actual duck, but with the tape, to the chair in which you sit, and let's dive in. Click the like button, and here we go. Take a look at this culture. This is out of ScreenRant. 10 movies releasing in 2025 that can make $1 billion at the box office. It is by Megan Hemingway, and it was published November 14th, 2024. Now, while there is hilarity to be found here, culture, there is also tragedy as well. And I just want to, let me read this paragraph to you because, folks, I'm going to give you I'm going to cut to the chase here, okay? None of these movies thus far, not a single one, not one, has made $1 billion. It says the $1 billion box office isn't necessarily rare, but is still a massive achievement. Many movies come from popular franchises or significant intellectual properties, yet they don't even come close. For example, the only 2024 movies to reach $1 billion, Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2. In general, earning $1 billion at the box office is a gamble. A movie must attract viewers, yada, 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 yada. Here's what they said. In 10th place, they had Minecraft movie because, well, that was number 10 to them. Keep that in mind. If we keep on scrolling down, number 9 was How to Train Your Dragon, the live action. Number 8, they said Michael. Let's see. Then they had Fantastic Four. Then they had Lilo and Stitch. Wicked Part 2 was going to hit $1 billion according to them. Snow White, Zootopia 2, and finally Jurassic World Rebirth, followed by Avatar. Okay, so what is the reality culture? Well, on the numbers, we have it. And the numbers has the top grossing movies of 2025. They have it listed out by the domestic. So we don't have the full, but I can tell you, I know the numbers here, so I'll just walk you through. A Minecraft movie is basically done at theaters. It grossed domestically $423 million. That means it landed at $950 globally. Lilo and Stitch, still in theaters, is at $366 million domestic. It is around $850. Sinners, $275 domestic, nowhere close to $1 billion worldwide. Captain America: Brave New World somehow, some way sits in number 4 at $200 million on the domestic and failing to break $500 million worldwide. There's no point in continuing forward. It just gets sadder. It just makes people feel a little bit more sorry, Canadians, for the box office, for the cinema owners. Things are not going well, culture. We are about to discuss how it's getting worse, actually. But before we do, I must go to you, culture. It looks like box office billion-dollar blockbusters are, if not extinct, exceedingly rare. So, since we haven't had $1 billion make the mark since Deadpool and Wolverine, what the heck is going on here, culture? What is happening to the box office?
Well, it's a combination of things, and we can't pretend it's not. It's not one thing individually. You, of course, have films that are very low effort but high budget that are being given to the audiences and are being rejected before people even attend. There's, of course, the argument to be made about streaming, which I think is definitely having an effect, especially on the lower budget properties, because if people know that this film is going to be on one of the streaming services in short order, why would I go see it in the theater? I have a subscription to this thing that I hardly use. It'd be a good reason to use it to, see something like Snow White, which was at the very bottom of that list, which had no prayer ever of reaching $1 billion. So when you take a look at this and you look at what the overall projected budget is just for the summer box office season, the quarter that makes up summer, they got way over their skis in the projections that they had. There's very little this summer that had a chance of getting $1 billion, let alone just for the summer season alone, making the over $4 billion that they projected for the summer movie season. I don't see combined all of the films making that much money. I think it's going to come up short, and I think we're seeing that in real time with the underperformance of nearly everything that Disney releases, and the films that should be popular still not earning the kind of revenue that they would have back in 2019. The biggest box office years are 2018 and 2019. We don't have anything on the calendar or on the slate that it would even compare to that. We don't have anticipation or hype for anything that comes out of the MCU anymore. And I'm watching a dropping projection or set of projections for everything coming out this summer, including the story you brought up, which mentions Jurassic World having a lower than projected domestic open.
So let's talk about some of these culture. A Minecraft movie that had a good shot at it, came up short, just barely.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon, looking right now, I would say it's going to land somewhere between $600 and $700 million at the worldwide, which I think that probably is disappointing to them. Michael, whatever. I'm not even going to touch that. The Fantastic Four, every time we get a report, it looks worse and worse. I'm shocked they don't have Superman on this list, by the way. Absolutely shocked, but they don't. Lilo and Stitch, culture real quick. Lilo and Stitch, and haha, folks, yes, we see Snow White. Just laugh and wave, folks, laugh and wave. All right, so culture. Lilo and Stitch, I think, had the best shot to get $1 billion in the first half. Now we're down to basically Jurassic World, Zootopia 2, Avatar, right? Okay. How much did it hurt them to go in and mess with the idea of Ohana, whether or not it's right or wrong, whatever the movie is saying? It had the effect of people saying to each other, hey, they made some changes. You know, the older sister abandons the kid and all this, and I'm not going to weigh into it, okay? The fact that people are having that conversation means they messed up. How much did that cost them, culture?
Well, I think it cost them probably easily $100 million worldwide. I think that people were looking for a return to form of a shot-for-shot remake live action. Those seem to be what are most successful, and as they mess with the stories, things become much less successful. And I guess the case in point would be coming from Disney specifically, and another film of theirs called Snow White, as we actually smiled and waved at just a moment ago. I look at these numbers and analyzing everything as far as performance. I still think Lilo and Stitch has an outside chance of reaching $1 billion, but because of all the competition that's entering the field, it's not looking like that'll likely happen.
No, I think 950 is probably where it lands. Disney is going to do everything they can to get it across the 900 mark. Like, they will do anything, because if you can't reach $1 billion, 900 will have to be what you settle with. Jurassic World, though, this is what has me nervous for cinema owners. And one of the things that we don't want to have happen is, although at this point it may be just inevitable, we don't want to see a cascading failure of cinemas, because going to the movies is a communal cultural experience that has been a part of Americana and has, it was then exported to the world, but it's been a part of Americana since the 1910s, 1920s, back even before they had the talkies. So we don't want that to go away, because it's one of the few remaining opportunities to bring people on the left and the right into the same space to enjoy something together, so that they have a shared moment. And we need that, okay? Because that lowers the temperature. However, Jurassic World Rebirth is not blazing to the box office right now, tracking to set off major box office fireworks. That's how they're going to put it. It is a trade. They're going to promote as best they can. Pamela McClintock, we love her, says $100 million to $125 million opening. Okay, here's the problem with that culture. If Jurassic World Rebirth comes out to 120 to 125, and here's the problem, folks, read this. Whoa, it jumped on me. Try it again. Don't do that again. There we go. Okay, over the 5-day holiday. So this is not a weekend. This is a week. What that signals to me, culture, is that a 3-day normal weekend it might not break 100. And if it doesn't break 100, okay, if on a normal weekend, on a 3-day, this gets less than 100, I don't see any way it's going to break $1 billion. We're starting to run out of movies, culture, that can do it in 2025. We're starting to run out of movies, and if we run out of movies that can be those billion-dollar blockbusters, the next step that happens is that the studios stop producing those. Because, like in the gaming industry, you know how hard it is to make an MMO? Because there's so much money and so much time, and that's the way these blockbusters are. Disney's got to be looking at Star Wars and Marvel. And these other studios that are smaller, they got to be making these kinds of assessments as well. You know, if by default they can't make $1 billion on the big ones, they can't afford to make the big ones anymore. They're really, really expensive. So, culture, how does this play out over the next 3 or 4 or 5 years? What do you think is going to happen here?
I think that Hollywood's going to rediscover the lower budget or mid-budget film. I think they're going to start putting effort into finding people who can write and produce good stories, because the problem overall is that we're just getting terrible material with a lot of money behind it. We're getting a lot of pomp, circumstance, fluff, whatever you want to call the special effects folks that are putting all of their effort into this. I think you're going to see a very tightly controlled number of superhero films going forward, and we've already started to see those numbers go down, because I think that Iger over at his studio, Zaslav over at his media company, they've all recognized that the audiences are stepping away from their films. They're not stepping away from cinemas. They're still going to the cinemas, or at least when something's definitely known to be good. That's what Minecraft was. But when you look at forecasts that are projecting the domestic totals very early on to be very, very low, I'm at a loss. I mean, the low end for Jurassic World 3-day, not including those 5 days, is in the same range as How to Train Your Dragon. They're projecting a $70 to $80 million range in those opening 3 days. That actually includes the Thursday previews. But regardless, I mean, How to Train Your Dragon went from a 70 to 80 million projection to just barely over 83 million, at least as of the moment we're speaking. But I'm looking at it overall and saying, okay, if these are all the guaranteed $1 billion winners, they're not going to make $1 billion. They're going to come up far short, which would include Jurassic World, although it has more international interest. That film, at the end of its domestic run, is going to fall between 250 and just under $300 million. You've got a lot of these films like this that, well, they just are set to disappoint. I don't have any idea what this Michael movie is, or ever, even if it's come out already, because it's nowhere in any of the tracking that I pay attention to. But what I am paying attention to is a mid-budget film, F1, which is about F1 racing, Formula One. And that film with Brad Pitt, who actually can open a movie, and that's the other problem we can talk about if you want, is that that film's going to open between 56 million and 72 million, and ultimately about 250 million when it is through its entire domestic run. These films that don't cost as much money are much easier to find profit in. If you're not featuring a giant cameo crew, which Superman is, you don't have as many salaries to pay for high-end actors. And that's going to be any superhero film's problem now, because they are incapable of writing individual stories that are interesting. If you look at what they did with Superman, Brave New World. Excuse me, not Superman. If you look at what they did with Captain America, Brave New World, that film still had too many players in it. It needed to be simplified. But again, some of this comes down to the agenda driving casting and everything else in the background. And perhaps, it comes down to terrible, terrible stories. We just have to have Hollywood write cheaper and more important films, more engaging films with the audience. That's all it comes down to, Pro.
The ceiling seems to have collapsed. We're down to about 3 movies that can break the $1 billion mark as the ceiling comes down. That would be Zootopia 2, Avatar, and Superman. I don't think Fantastic Four can break the $1 billion. I am doubtful about Superman, and Zootopia 2 and Avatar, I think, are the best bets. I do want to show this, though, Culture. If we look at the market share for each distributor, there's something fascinating going on here, and that is that it's not good to be number one. And the reason for that is, Warner Brothers has made a lot of money on some lesser costing films. Disney overall, I think at this point, they are in negative territory. We've had Captain America Brave New World as a flop. We've had Snow White as a flop. We've had Thunderbolts as a flop. We're about to have Elio as a flop. The only thing made money is Lilo and Stitch. That's it. So it's not good to be number one right now in 2025. So if being number one means you're losing money, this is a losing proposition at the cinema. Culture, I'll give you the final word.
No, I think you're correct. The only hope that I see this summer for $1 billion actually is Superman. I think that one could come through and do a surprising amount. Yeah, exactly. A surprising amount of money.
Get them the billion. Get them the billion. Give them big bucks. Dun. Sorry,
and no, I think that's great. And let's hope that actually happens, because it will if it's a good movie. And that's my only hangup, is whether or not it's going to be a good movie, because this film is probably not just affecting me when I see it trailer to trailer, teaser to teaser, whatever other public items have been out there, pictures, things like that, statements, interviews. I think there have been some massive interviews done around that as well. But when I'm looking at Superman, I'm thinking there's hope there. But again, they need to figure out if they are, going to tell one story or another. But I've got to say, I have no hope for Disney this year. I don't know if overall with all their releases, they'll be able to even break even. I mean, at the end of the year, not just the summer, but at the end of the year, you're going to have Avatar. But doesn't that fall again across 2 years? And
that is the problem. That is the problem.
Is that going to carry forward that franchise at all? I don't think so. I think people will eventually get tired of, it's pretty, and just realize and recognize they're being told the same story over and over and over again.
Well, see, that's the problem, Culture, is that if we want to be stringent about this and accurate, and we do, Avatar will break $1 billion in 2026 if it does. And that leaves 2 movies, Zootopia 2 and Superman. So Hollywood, yikes, you're down to 2 now, and the cinemas cannot afford to continue losing. As folks, we need you to weigh in and let us know, did this happen mostly because of a paradigm shift in technology moving to streaming, or did it happen mostly because Hollywood decided to sacrifice themselves on the altar of politics? Woke? Broke? Maybe. You be the one who decides. Folks, like, share, subscribe. We're going to see you real soon. Get over there to Culture Casino. He's got the hardest working YouTube channel out there, and maybe times 2. Culture, share with those out there. What's new with Culture Casino these days?
Well, we actually dropped a new channel. It's called Campione. It's Campione. It's a reaction channel where we just go about reacting to some of the nonsense that's posted by the wild random people out there, and look at some Reddit issues with, some scrutiny. So you'll want to check that out. Campione Reacts on YouTube. Thank you for that, Pro.
Campione hot tub reaction videos. Sorry. That's the other new channel coming up. Folks, we got to go. We'll see you soon. Remember, keep it calm above the bubbles. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
You know what? I don't even care this time.
Well, you should know that I'm preparing to...
Nope, I said I don't care. Whatever you're doing, I don't care.
You don't want to know that I'm auditioning for Pro's new rock station on New Rock Radio?
Nope.
You don't want to know that he now has Vacation Radio and New Rock Radio on Prelude Studios, which used to be Vacation Radio but is now so much more?
Well, maybe.
You don't want to know that I purchased this guitar and these sunglasses using the credit card that you humorously labeled for emergency uses only?
Wait, what? You did what?
Oh, see, now you're taking interest in my passions and abilities. Okay, Okay, so Jose, you're sure that we ordered the $10,000 drum kit before Floral canceled the credit card?
It did, Miss Drum Set. Check.
Nice. Okay. Oh, and the didgeridoo? That will increase in value so that Floral can send his kids to college?
Academia. Oh, that's it.
Why is there a didgeridoo on the front porch? I'm gonna bury that little troll.
Jose,
Oh.
Google how to play didgeridoo. We're gonna need to justify this somehow.